Welcome, class. Today, we're diving into one of the most important yet overlooked topics in entrepreneurship: building networks and foundations. This isn't just about having a great idea, it's about creating the relationships and structures that allow that idea to live, breathe, and grow. Whether you're launching a side hustle or building a startup from the ground up, your success will depend just as much on who you know and how you're connected as it does on what you sell. Let's break this down. Section 12.1 is about your people pipeline. How do you build the network that helps you survive and thrive? It's your business circulatory system. Then 12.2, that's your dream team. It's not just about getting warm bodies to help, it's about finding complementary skills, shared vision, and folks who can handle the heat without folding. And finally, 12.3 brings us to doing the real setup. This isn't the cute part, it's utilities, paperwork, signage, licenses. It's what separates real businesses from I got an Instagram page and vibes. But again, today is 12.1. Let's build the bridge before we throw the party. Let's talk about US Route 1. Not just a road, a metaphor. Before this highway was built, the Florida Keys were beautiful but disconnected. Tourists couldn't get in, businesses couldn't thrive. It was vibes with no revenue. Then came this bridge, steel reinforced concrete, connecting islands that once felt worlds apart. Now think about your ideas. Are they isolated like those keys used to be? Or are they connected to mentors, customers, collaborators, and capital? That's what networks do. They turn beautiful, disconnected thoughts into a real economy. And building them, that's your job now. Welcome to the land of free game, your campus. Look around. It's a buffet of future collaborators, soft investors, beta testers, and accountability partners. That classmate who always turns in assignments early? Project manager vibes. That dude in your dorm with 6 monitors and 4 empty energy drink cans? He's your future CTO. Those alumni events you ignore? That's where people who have jobs hang out. Get into it. Academic clubs, honor societies, even your TA. These are your first tier networks. They cost nothing but intention. And every convo isn't a pitch, it's a relationship. Build now while it's low risk and high reward. Because when it's time to launch, you don't want to be standing alone in an empty auditorium asking, anybody want to help? Let's talk structure. Not all networks are created equal, and knowing the difference between open, closed, and hybrid groups could determine whether your time spent networking is an asset or just noise. Open groups are like that yoga in the park crew or your local Facebook group for freelancers. Anyone can show up. There's community, shared interests, maybe even momentum, but structure, minimal. Think come as you are energy. Great for casual connections, not always ideal for professional traction. Closed groups, on the other hand, have gates. You don't just show up, you apply, you're vetted, and you meet specific standards. Think fraternities, executive associations, mastermind groups. They're serious, which means if you're in, you've got status. You're trusted, and in many cases, that's exactly the social capital your business needs. Hybrid groups are the mullets of the networking world: business in the front, social in the back, low barriers to entry, but some expectation that you'll contribute and show up with intention. These can be gold for emerging entrepreneurs, less intimidating than closed circles, but more purposeful than open ones. Pick the right format for your goals and energy. Don't get stuck in a group chat that never scales into opportunity. Now let's elevate the conversation to growth infrastructure. When you're serious about launching or scaling, there are two powerhouse resources worth knowing: incubators and accelerators. Incubators are your slow cookers. They're nonprofit or low cost spaces where ideas simmer, sometimes for years. There's rent, mentorship is light, and selection is often open. Perfect if your idea is still forming or if you want room to breathe before chasing scale. Accelerators? Whole different animal. They're like business boot camps, short term, intense, competitive. You're placed in a cohort, meaning your progress is public and your timeline is non negotiable. You give equity, but in return, you get funding, elite mentorship, and access to investors who are actually writing checks. So, how do you choose? If you're still noodling around with your idea, go incubator. If you've got a prototype, traction, and a clear lane, go accelerator and buckle up. Both have transformed thousands of small startups into scalable, fundable ventures. But don't show up to either without clarity because they'll make you earn every resource they offer. The most underrated resource in the entrepreneurial playbook: the government. Yes, the same folks you side eye during tax season are also quietly running an entire ecosystem of business support. Here's the short list. SCORE connects you with retired executives who actually want to mentor you for free. Small Business Development Centers, SBDCs, are the Swiss Army knives of small business help. Business plans, market research, compliance support, you name it. Women's Business Centers, WBCs, offer specialized support and funding access for women identifying entrepreneurs. Hub zones exist to empower historically underutilized business zones. If your zip code qualifies, doors open. And at the top of the pyramid is the SBA, your portal to loans, grants, contracts, and critical training. Most of these programs are overlooked by people who assume help only comes from private investors or social media DMs. But these government programs, they've been here, they're structured, and most importantly, they're already funded. A great idea will get you applause. A great team will get you funded. This image, it's not just another group of professionals brainstorming. It's a reminder that even the best entrepreneurs are only as strong as the people they gather around them. You need execution partners, feedback loops, and folks who hold you accountable when enthusiasm wears off. In early stage networking, the relationships you're forming could one day evolve into that squad. Be mindful now of who shows up consistently, who adds value, and who shares your hunger. Because when it's time to scale, those will be the voices in the room and the ones in your corner. Numbers don't lie, but they will confuse you if you're not paying attention. This slide brings us to a critical foundational move: hiring a professional accountant. Not your cousin who's good at Excel, a licensed professional who understands tax law, payroll systems, cash flow analysis, and how to keep your books IRS ready. This isn't about making your QuickBooks look pretty. It's about making decisions based on real actionable data. Cash runway, burn rate, forecasts. These numbers will either propel you forward or bury you in debt. So if the goal is sustainable growth and not financial chaos, build your foundation with someone who can translate dollars into direction. Let's talk banking, not the boring get a debit card version, but the strategic decision of choosing the right financial institution for your business. This image is more than just cute plants and coins. It's about growth, financial growth, and how the foundation you build with your bank can either nourish your venture or stunt it. Entrepreneurs often overlook this. They open a personal checking account, toss in some Zelle payments, and call it a day. No. You need a business banking partner that understands things like merchant services, credit lines, and working capital management. Not all banks are created equal. Some specialize in startups, some are better for e commerce. Some give you access to SBA backed lending officers, huge if you're planning to apply for loans or government contracts. So don't pick a bank based on which one gave you a free t shirt at a college fair. Do the research. Sit down with a business banker. Ask questions. Because the institution you partner with will influence your creditworthiness, your access to capital, and ultimately your ability to grow. Here's where ego meets wisdom. Sometimes you need to pay people who know more than you. This image of a woman leading a discussion in front of a sticky note war zone, that's what it looks like when you've hired or partnered with an industry expert, someone who knows the terrain better than you and helps you navigate it faster. In entrepreneurship, time is money and mistakes are expensive. Industry experts help you skip some of those mistakes. Whether it's manufacturing regulations, digital marketing analytics, or grant proposal strategies, there are people out there who've done it, failed at it, and succeeded at it. Tap them. And no, this isn't about finding an Instagram guru with 10K followers. This is about credibility, receipts, and experience. So whether it's through a consulting fee, a fractional advisor agreement, or simply inviting them onto your board, bringing experts in early can reduce risk, impress investors, and elevate your strategy from the jump. Now let's talk about your extended bench, your advisors and service providers. Every successful business has a trusted squad behind the scenes: your attorney, your financial institution, your insurance agent, your industry expert, and maybe even that wild card other spot you didn't know you needed until chaos hit. Your attorney keeps you out of legal hot water, contracts, trademarks, IP protection. Your banker ensures your finances are structured for growth and access to capital. Your insurance agent mitigates risk when the unexpected happens, and it will happen. Your industry expert plugs the knowledge gaps. And that other could be a branding strategist, compliance consultant, or that one auntie who knows how to finesse city permits. The point is, surround yourself with people who don't just cheer you on, but who make sure your operation runs like a business, not a hobby. These are your power players. Invest wisely. Operations management, the ultimate business balancing act. It's giving symphony conductor meets spreadsheet warrior. At the top of this chart is what keeps the show running. A manager juggling five core pillars: money, methods, machines, people, and leadership. If even one of these falters, the whole system stumbles. Think of this as your entrepreneurship anatomy. Money is your lifeblood. People are the muscle. Leadership, that's the brain. The methods and machines, those are your joints and limbs. Everything has to be in sync to move forward. Visual learners, this one's for you. On the left, we've got a B2B situation. A farmer sells bulk produce to a grocery store that then prepares it for resale. On the right, that same farmer, or maybe her cousin, is selling jam and honey at a local farmer's market. That's B2C, business to customer. Notice the difference in transaction type and scale. B2B is about contracts and long term supply chains. B2C? It's vibes, personal touch, and direct exchange. Both require hustle, just different kinds of it. Before a business can operate, it must be grounded in a solid structure. The very first step is determining the legal organization of the business. Entrepreneurs must choose whether to operate as a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a limited liability company, LLC, or a corporation. Each comes with different implications for taxes, liability, and decision making authority. Once the structure is chosen, the next critical step is selecting a name. This name will serve not only as the official title for legal and governmental use, but also as the identity that the public sees. While a corporate name must be unique and legally registered, businesses can also use trade names that better reflect the product or industry. Once a name is decided, the entrepreneur and any partners must come together to draft and approve articles of incorporation or formal agreements that outline how the business will be managed. From there, official documents must be filed with the Secretary of State or the corresponding governing body. And once approved, the business becomes legally recognized. With this foundation laid, it's time to infuse the company with capital. This often means the principals make their first contributions, cash payments into the company's bank account to fund operations and establish financial credibility. Once a business is legally registered, the focus turns to legitimizing it in the eyes of the government and the public. Entrepreneurs must obtain a federal employer identification number or FINE from the Internal Revenue Service. This number serves as the business's social security number for tax and payroll filings. At the state level, a similar employer identification number may be required to report and pay unemployment insurance and sales tax. If a business uses a trade name or assumed name different from its legal name, it must also be registered at the county or state level to ensure compliance. Beyond government registration, a professional presence is essential. Businesses must secure a phone number, domain name, website, and branded email, components that signal legitimacy to customers and partners alike. Once these are established, it's time to open a business checking account under the corporate and trade name. Banks typically require signature cards, identification, and formal documents from the business owners. Entrepreneurs should also order debit cards or credit cards tied to the account and test their deposit systems to ensure everything runs smoothly. Finally, all business partners or officers must sign agreements that formalize the ownership and operating roles, laying the groundwork for decision making and accountability. With finances and legalities in place, the business must now focus on its physical and regulatory environment. This begins with securing a location. Entrepreneurs must either lease or purchase space that is suitable for their operations, and depending on the jurisdiction, they may need a certificate of occupancy to legally operate from that space. Approval often involves building inspections to ensure the facility meets fire safety, health, and other regulatory standards. Utilities, including water, gas, electric, garbage, and phone services, must be activated and functioning to support operations. In highly regulated industries or retail environments, businesses must also post mandatory notices. These are often displayed in break rooms, near time clocks, or by registers, and they keep employees informed of their rights. In parallel, licenses and permits must be secured from the appropriate government bodies. These may be required at the federal, state, or local level and could apply to general operations or specific activities like selling food or alcohol. Insurance coverage is the final piece of protection. This includes property insurance for the building, liability coverage in case of accidents, and workers' compensation to support employees in the event of injury. In some states, businesses may be able to opt out of workers' comp with proper documentation, but regardless, coverage must be addressed before opening the doors. As the business nears opening, attention turns to operational readiness. Entrepreneurs must outfit the business with the furniture, fixtures, and equipment needed to function day to day. This includes shelving, desks, cash registers, displays, or industrial tools depending on the nature of the business. Then comes the inventory, whether it's retail stock, ingredients, or office supplies. This must be ordered and documented with detailed pricing sheets or menus to guide both sales and restocking. The final and perhaps most critical step is building the team. Recruiting and hiring employees should be a thoughtful process, especially if specific certifications are required, such as food safety for kitchen workers or first aid for warehouse staff. Every employee should be trained in their specific roles before opening. In fact, many businesses conduct a soft launch, a quiet first day or week of operations to troubleshoot issues and ensure everything runs smoothly. This dry run allows owners to spot gaps in service, retrain staff if necessary, and reinforce confidence before welcoming the broader public. The goal is to make sure that when the grand opening happens, the business is not just operational, it's exceptional. As we wrap up, this checklist reminds us that launching a business is about more than a good idea. It's about building a foundation that supports growth and sustainability. From legal setup to hiring, licenses, and logistics, these steps protect you and position you for success. But beyond operations, networking is key. Building relationships with vendors, partners, mentors, and your local community can open doors, offer guidance, and expand your reach. With solid systems and strong networks, your business isn't just ready to open, it's ready to thrive.